Priya Harlow had worked at Alderton and Voss Private Banking for 2 years, long enough to know how the lobby worked. Long enough to know which clients Garrett Sill walked to the consultation rooms himself, and which ones he let wait. She was standing at the edge of the relationship manager floor, a file under her arm, when the woman came in. She was not a woman who looked uncertain. That was the first thing Priya noticed. She wore a dove gray coat, tailored and unhurried, and she carried a leather portfolio the color of dark honey. She moved through the marble lobby the way people move through spaces they have thought carefully about, not quickly, not slowly, but with the kind of deliberateness that has no need to announce itself. She was black, perhaps 55 or 60, her hair close-cropped and silver at the temples, and her eyes, when they swept the room, took in everything without appearing to look at anything in particular. She approached the central reception desk. She placed a card on the marble. Priya was close enough to hear Garrett Sill say, "The general inquiry window is just along the left wall, ma'am. Someone will be right with you." He slid the card back across the marble without reading it. The woman looked at the card. She looked at Garrett. She said, "Thank you," and picked it up. 2 minutes later, a white couple in their 60s came through the door. Garrett was already moving across the lobby to meet them, his hand extended. He walked them himself to consultation room 2, the one with the view of the courtyard. The door closed behind them with a soft, expensive click. Priya watched the woman in the gray coat settle into one of the chairs along the left wall. She opened her leather portfolio across her knees. She took out a small bound notebook, dark green, worn smooth at the corners from use, and a pen, and she began to write. For minutes after that, another white client arrived. The associate at the front desk, Marcus, waved him through to consultation room 1 without asking for an appointment card. The woman in the gray coat kept writing. Priya's file was still under her arm. She had not moved. She had seen this before. She had seen it in the polished mechanics of the lobby, the particular rhythm of who was escorted and who was redirected, who was offered coffee and whose appointment card was not read. She had told herself for most of 2 years that she was new, that she might be misreading it, that it was not her place. She had believed half of that for about 6 months. She crossed the lobby. The woman looked up when Priya stopped in front of her. Her expression was composed, attentive, without any particular expectation. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Priya said, and meant it. "Can I get you some water? Or coffee?" "Water would be very kind," the woman said. "Thank you, Priya." She had read the nameplate on Priya's lanyard. Priya had not offered her name. She brought the water. The woman accepted it with a nod and set it precisely on the small side table, then looked back at her notebook. Priya said, "Is there something I can help you with directly? I know the wait can sometimes." "I have an appointment," the woman said. "At 11. She said it without complaint, without heat. It was simply the fact. It was 11:14. Priya said, quietly, "What is the name on the appointment?" "Adeyemi," the woman said. Priya went back to the desk and pulled up the system. There it was, 11 o'clock, Constance Adeyemi, flagged priority intake, the highest designation in the system. A flag that Garrett himself had to have seen when he unlocked the lobby appointments that morning. She went back to the woman. "Ms. Adeyemi." "It's all right," Constance Adeyemi said. She was still writing. "I'm exactly where I need to be." Something in the way she said it made Priya stop. Not reassurance. Something more like precision. She's exactly where she needs to be, Priya thought. Not where she was sent. She did not know, then, what that meant. She went back to her desk. She pulled Constance Adeyemi's intake record again. Under client type, the system read, Corporate Priority, Regional Director. Under notes, a single line, Courtesy Intake Audit, unannounced. Branch Manager notified, no. Priya read the line twice. Then she looked across the lobby at Garrett Sill, who was pouring himself a coffee at the side credenza, and then back at the woman in the gray coat, who was still writing, small and exact, in her green notebook. She understood. She said nothing. She went very still at her desk and she watched. The notebook filled. Constance Adeyemi asked for nothing. When a junior associate walked past her without offering to help, she wrote. When the general inquiry window opened for a brief stretch and a harried teller handled 3 walk-in clients in the time she had been waiting, she wrote. When Garrett Sill came back through the lobby and glanced in her direction without stopping, she wrote. She kept her water glass balanced on the portfolio's edge. Her posture did not shift. She was, Priya thought, the stillest person she had ever watched. Not the stillness of patience running out, but the stillness of someone who has already decided what the afternoon will contain, and is simply letting it arrive. At 11:37, the lobby door opened and a man Priya had never seen came in. He was white, perhaps 40, in a dark suit, and he carried a document case with a corporate seal on the clasp. He went directly to the front desk. He handed Marcus a card. Marcus's face changed, a small, careful change, the kind that comes with reading a title you were not expecting. Marcus said something to him, low. The man nodded and turned toward the left wall. He saw Constance Adeyemi. He crossed the lobby and said, Ms. Adeyemi. I apologize for the delay. The traffic from the regional office was right on time, Daniel, she said. She closed the notebook and stood. I've been making good use of the wait. She said it warmly, without irony, and something about that warmth was worse than anger would have been. It suggested that she had been fully, professionally occupied for 37 minutes in the chair she had been sent to, and that she had found the experience useful. Daniel set his document case on the small table. He opened it and produced a sealed envelope, which he handed to Constance. She broke the seal and removed a single card, which she held for a moment, and then placed on the portfolio's cover. Then she said, in a voice that was not raised, that simply carried the way the lobby's acoustics allowed sound to carry, could someone ask Mr. Sill to join us, please? Garrett came out of consultation room 2 6 minutes later. His clients had apparently been seen to. He was composing a smile as he walked, the particular smile of a manager who has been interrupted and is deciding how annoyed to be. He stopped when he saw Daniel. He stopped again when his eyes moved to the card on the portfolio. He read it. He read it again. Regional Director of Client Services, Alderton and Voss Private Banking. Area 3. 14 branches. Garrett said, MS. Adeyemi, I. Thank you for coming out, Mr. Sill, Constance said. She gestured to the chairs around the small table. Shall we sit? I think it will be easier. They sat. Priya had not moved from her desk. She realized she had been holding the same file under the same arm for 40 minutes. Daniel opened his document case. He placed 3 folders on the table. Intake records, Priya could see from across the lobby. 36 months of them. Constance Adeyemi opened her leather portfolio. She removed the green notebook, which was, Priya now understood, not a personal notebook at all but a formal record, each page dated, each observation time-stamped. She set it beside the folders. Then she reached into the second compartment of the portfolio. Her movements had the same quality they had carried all morning, unhurried, exact, without a single wasted motion. She placed a bundle on the table. It was perhaps 30 envelopes. They were bound together with a pale blue ribbon, the kind used for correspondence. Each envelope was addressed in a careful, even hand. Each one bore a name in the return address corner, Franklin Adeyemi. And each one, Priya could see from where she stood, because the lobby was very quiet now, had been stamped across the front in red ink. Return to sender. Garrett Sill looked at the envelopes for a long moment. His face had the particular flatness of a man who has just understood something he cannot ununderstand. Constance said, My husband was a client of this branch for 11 years. Or he tried to be. He submitted his first application for private banking services in 2019. She touched the topmost envelope. This is that letter. He followed up. He wrote again. He called the branch line, the records of those calls are in Daniel's folder, if you'd like to see them. He was told, on separate occasions, that his application was under review, that the documentation requirements had changed, that someone would be in touch. No one was ever in touch. She moved to the next envelope. He wrote again in 2020. And in 2021. He wrote 6 letters altogether. They were all returned. Her voice was level. It had been level all morning, and it remained so. There was nothing in it that could be called theatrical and nothing in it that was less than completely clear. Franklin died 14 months ago, she said. He never had a private account at this branch. He had been a customer of this bank, in various forms, for 19 years. He qualified for every tier of service this branch offers. He was never told why his applications were declined. I was not able to ask on his behalf while the audit was pending. She looked at Garrett. I want to be honest with you, Mr. Sill. I came here today to do a job. The intake records alone would have been enough for the review. My husband's letters are not part of the official file. I brought them because I wanted you to see them. I thought that was fair. Garrett said nothing. The audit will proceed as filed, Constance said. Daniel has the protocols. It will cover 36 months of intake records, client rejection correspondence, and service delivery data across all client demographic categories. HR will be in contact with you before end of business today regarding the interim staffing arrangement. Daniel had already begun setting out the documentation. His hands moved efficiently. The lobby had been quiet for some time. Priya became aware that two of her colleagues had come to stand near her. She became aware that Marcus, at the front desk, had put down the pen he had been holding. She became aware that the junior associate who had walked past Constance Adeyemi without stopping was standing very still near the credenza. None of them spoke. Constance Adeyemi gathered the envelopes and held them for a moment before returning them to the portfolio. She did not tie the ribbon. She simply let them rest, loose, in the compartment, and closed the clasp. She said, "There is one additional matter. My daughter, Amara, is 26. She lives in this city. She has her father's business acumen and considerably better taste in furniture." A very small thing, not quite a smile, crossed her face. An account was opened in her name this morning at the regional office. It will be serviced here, at this branch, under the standard private banking protocols, documented and dated from the time of intake. That is not a punitive arrangement, Mr. Sill. It is what should have existed for her father. I would like it to exist for her. She stood. She buttoned the top button of her gray coat. She looked around the lobby, at Daniel, at Marcus, at Priya, at the two colleagues standing near the relationship manager floor. She said, to no one in particular and to all of them at once, "Thank you for your time." She walked to the door. Priya watched her go. The lobby doors parted for her and closed again, and she was gone into the bright, indifferent street outside, and for a moment the lobby held the specific silence of a room that has just been shown something it cannot put back. That evening, Priya wrote her own account of the morning, not a formal statement, though the compliance team would ask for one in 3 days. Just what she had seen. The appointment card placed on the marble and slid back without being read. The 2 white clients escorted to the consultation rooms. The 37 minutes in the chair by the left wall. The green notebook. The envelopes with the red stamp. She did not know what a man named Franklin Adeyemi had looked like. She imagined the careful handwriting on the envelopes, a man sitting down to write each letter with the particular patience of someone who still believed that the right words, put plainly enough, would eventually be met with a fair reply. She thought about the letters going out and coming back. 6 times. The ribbon someone had tied around them, whether it was him, or her, or both of them together, handling what comes back when the world refuses to receive what you send. The account opened in Amara Adeyemi's name would be serviced at that branch, under the standard protocols, from the date of intake forward. It was documented, and dated, and it was real, and it was not enough, and it was exactly what was owed. Garrett Sill did not return to the branch. The audit ran its course. Priya kept the file.